Hey, y'all need a break. Listen to these stories from r/AskReddit. Gunshot survivors of Reddit, what does it feel like to get shot? I took a 7.62 to the stomach in Afghanistan. Felt like somebody had smacked with I dunno, a fly swatter or something. A short sharp smack. Didn't feel much until I tried to come out of cover and I just couldn't make my body listen to me. Then the pin hit. I'd put it at I dunno, an 11 out of 10. Bullet blew off half my liver. Damn, how are you doing now? It's funny, I figured since I was missing half my liver I would get drunk faster. Nope. I just stay drunker for longer. Waking up drunk is not a good feeling. I have to be way more aware of the toxins and everything I put in myself, because I can't process it out of me. Otherwise, between that and the 2 IEDs I rolled over in Kandahar, the army considers me 90% disabled. My partner likes to joke that I have tapioca brain, and that if I move my head too fast she can see the pudding coming out your ears. I don't sleep too well, I'm afraid of fireworks. I hate being touched by anyone that isn't my partner, my sister, or a long-time friend. I drink too much. I have terrible nightmares of my guts spilling out on the ground, and whatever I try I can't get them back in. Don't join the army, kids. Join the Coast Guard or Air Force. Humping a mortar around is a good way to F yourself up, and when you get out, there ain't crap for you but a bottle and a bullet. Immediate edit, some spelling. Got half a bottle of bourbon in me. Chest, 357 Magnum, through sternum, lung, ricochet off of rib, through scapula. Still have half under my shoulder blade. Felt like I was stabbed in the chest with a hot fire poker mounted to the bottom of someone's foot when they drop kicked me. Was not expected to survive, severe blood loss, of course. Very good EMS team kept the liquids where they were supposed to, and great doctors and nurses kept me going. Wow. How did it happen? Was at a friend's of a friend's house. We hung out there once in a while. His parents were friends with all of us, so we'd go over there and hang out, have dinner, etc. We were all hunters, teenage, so being around guns wasn't really something that alerted anyone. Kid was having a conversation with someone else in the group about a firearm his father, deputy sheriff, had on the top of the hutch. He brought it downstairs and was holding it rather nonchalantly while talking. He wasn't looking at me whatsoever. The guy he was talking to asked him if it was loaded. He cocked the hammer back, which is what got my attention at that point, and pulled the trigger. He was very much not expecting it to go off. Upstairs he had been stopped by my friend and told to empty it. He opened the cylinder, shook the gun, bullets came out, he handed them over to my buddy, spins the cylinder, and walked downstairs. He didn't count that only 5 fell out. Anyways, after I got shot I stood up and screamed at him, "You shot me, man. Why the F did you shoot me?" And I then ran up the stairs, basement rec room, ran to the front porch and collapsed after telling the guy he was talking to. They all kind of ran along with me. Thankfully, that I was going to fall. When they heard what I was shot with and where, they were very surprised that my arm was even still attached to my body, nasty hollow point designed to shred. I was very fortunate that it was so close, 7 feet, and that only half of it made it all the way through. Spent a long time screaming myself awake, or more accurately waking everyone else up who then woke me up, at night. Years of therapy for the PTSD, depression, etc. It's real crap. I do not recommend. I didn't really feel either of mine until about 10 minutes later. Took a grazing shot off my left arm and one in the right hip that went out my back, thankfully missing my kidney. The arm felt like a bee sting, the hip knocked me back a step, the adrenaline at the time masked the pain. What was the context of the shots? I was in the 75th Ranger Regiment that landed at the airport in Panama. 13 years ago at age 14 I was shot by a home intruder 5 times with a .38 revolver. 3 rounds hit my abdomen, 1 hit my left forearm, and the final hit my left thigh. I was woke up by commotion in the living room. I thought it was my sibling getting home late from a friend's house, so I went to get water in the kitchen. That's when the guy saw me, panicked, and proceeded to dump the entire cylinder of his revolver into me from 10 feet away. At first it felt like someone jabbing me with a hot poker, the most painful one actually being my arm right away. The ones to my leg and stomach starting to hurt far more after maybe a minute or two, not sure since the event felt like it took an hour from start to finish. My sense of time when it comes to remembering the shooting is very distorted to this day by what happened. The guy got away before anyone got to me, my parents were out of town, and like I said my brother was out of friend's house. Luckily a neighbor called 911 within minutes of it happening and I was taken to the ER. It was during the ambulance ride that the pain really hit me, a sharp, hot pain took over me, every bump feeling like each spot was getting punched over and over again. Before they started operating to remove the 3 rounds still in my abdomen, it felt my guts were being torn out of me by hand. From there I don't remember the next 5 days of my life. I fell into a short coma due to the pain. I was hooked up to more tubes than I could count when I woke up, giving me fluids, pain meds, antibiotics, sucking out stomach bile and other fluids to keep my digestive tract clear to heal. All there was pain-wise was a very dull pain everywhere. It hurt the most to breathe, each breath feeling like an intense pressure on my gut. From here my memory is still hazy due to the amount of pain meds I was on to keep me calm. During the healing process we found out I had developed Crohn's disease, which the doctors figure was lying dormant my entire life and only flared up due to the extreme stress my body went through in a short period. This caused my abdomen area to heal improperly, causing me to go through a long drawn-out ordeal with the disease before finally having to end up with a permanent colostomy setup. 13 years later it's my reminder of what happened that night, why I now sleep with a handgun near me, wake up with night terrors of the event, and sometimes get scared if there's a noise in the middle of the night. The person who shot me was never caught as far as I know, and in the end nothing was even stolen from my parents' house. To this day I'm glad no one was home. I'm not sure I could live with a reality where one of my family was shot instead of me that night, or them having to find me after it had happened. If you read this far, thanks for reading, and stay safe my friends. Edit. I'm not one to usually share what's happened in my life with others. Typing this out, I never thought I would see such an outpour of love and support from everyone. From the bottom of my heart, thank you. Each day we're here together on this earth with each other is a blessing. Y'all making this grown man tear up. Got shot point blank in the chest with a .22 rifle. Two people were arguing. I was 16 years old relaxing on a couch. They were 18, and to this day I thought I knew them but I think they were up to some shady stuff when I was in the shower, meth. 41 now and I've thought about it many times. Anyways the two were screaming at each other who's tougher, one was going to the Navy, the other, Marines. One said, if you're so tough, shoot my name here. At that, he went in the room and grabbed the only gun we had along on the trip, weekend mountain/camp trip to the cabin. We were shooting cans and left one round in the chamber, only bullet we kept to line all the cans up on the log before we left and do one shot through 'em all. Dumb kids. Pulled the trigger, I lost my breath, ears started ringing, and I was trying to get up but it felt like a wet blanket was on my chest down to my legs. I looked down, and a half-inch from my heart was a tiny hole with one single drop of blood trail coming from it. Dude ran to a pay phone, before cell phones were common, and dialed 911. Ambulance was there in 6 minutes, which still amazes me, considering where we were. End result, bullet was lodged in my spine, removed it 2 days later. Paralyzed incomplete wheelchair-bound chest down. TLDR, shot and paralyzed by a .22 rifle at age 16, edit, a few words. Edit 2, I never post/share much I'm usually lurking, but you all are incredible thanks so much. I have a busy job so I'm trying to reply to a lot of your inquiries. Can't believe how much attention this drew. I love Reddit so much, y'all feel like extended family and friends. I'm truly happy in life and I've learned greatly from all my experiences no matter how tough the road has been. Everyone struggles with things every day, even you reading this. It could always be worse and there's always someone out there suffering worse than we are, if they're even lucky enough to still be on this earth. Keep your head up. Edit again, and now all these stars. Who knew these things made you feel so good? But I have to say I'm overwhelmed, my heart is full and again, Reddit Army is just such a down-to-earth group in a world that feels so unhinged. True definition of hope. Thank you all so much and for all these stories on here. Thank you everyone for sharing and I hope your day is as good as mine has been just getting it out there. I got shot in the ankle when I was 10. Honestly I thought a rock hit me. Just a slight stinging feeling. Didn't really hurt, I even kept running with my bike. Later at the hospital was a different story. The doctor tried to remove the bullet without putting me under. He said the pain medicine would make me forget everything. He gave up after a few minutes of hell. And, whatever he gave me didn't work as described, but it did oddly make everyone look purple from what I remember. So maybe it half worked. LOL. Right thigh, 9mm, grazing shot across the front of the leg about 4 inches above the knee. It plowed a channel of skin and some flesh off the front. It felt searing hot like someone had laid a hot piece of metal on my leg for a second. Then, the pain went away for a while until the adrenaline wore off. It honestly hurt worse 6 hours later than it did when it happened. I was shot with a .22 in the back. The initial shot hit my vertebrae and paralyzed me from the waist down. I literally just stiff-legged and fell backwards. I then felt a hot wave run down my back into my butt. Then the searing pain set in. It was excruciating and literally screamed and swore the whole time. When someone asks the level of pain I was in, I tell them to think of the worst pain they've experienced and times that by 100. The pain and realization that I couldn't move my legs was just heartbreaking and I just wanted out. 3 years later and lots of intense physical therapy I have gained a lot of movement and function back. I can walk with the aid of AFOs and crutches, but still need a wheelchair at home and for long distances. Edit, to those asking why or how I was shot. I was on private property shooting with friends. We stopped shooting and I went down range to change something. My friend decided that was the time to try and unload his .22 revolver, and as he pointed it down range, he somehow pulled the trigger and shot me. I don't know what possessed him to do that, as even if the gun was loaded nothing would happen if you don't touch the gun, but he did. Being in the middle of nowhere, it took about a half an hour for an ambulance to come, then a life flight to the nearest hospital. I'm lucky the bullet hit the vertebrae as it stopped it from going into organs and bleeding out. Oddly enough, there wasn't much blood and wound management was very minimal. And yes, he is still my friend. I forgave him and he definitely has suffered mentally for it, and he doesn't deserve more pain either. I was shot in the leg. It felt like a hard flick of a finger, then numbness. I didn't think I was shot until I saw the hole in my pants. Even then I thought maybe a rock hit me or something. No pain or blood until I started walking, then came a gush of blood and then my entire body went limp. People saw what happened so I had help right away. After that it hurt, but somewhere around a 6 to 7 on a scale of 10. Another time I was hit by a fragment from a ricochet on my forehead. Same feeling of being flicked with a finger. The area around the wound went white and there was no blood. The pain level was around a 5. Neither time was bad, but I don't want to try my luck again. Edit. Wow. I'll answer a few questions. In the leg I was hit by a .32 caliber and it was a clean entry and exit. Someone speculated that the wound was cauterized, and that's true to some extent, and would explain the lack of burning sensation that many others described. My forehead was hit just above my eyebrow, so I was lucky it missed my eye. Also, it was a small fragment of a .22 caliber. About the size of a pea. It wasn't a deep wound and the fragment probably stopped any bleeding. I have no permanent injury or damage from either gunshot other than a couple of scars. My profession in the private sector often places me in dangerous situations and dangerous places. Neither was related to my work, however. I do legally conceal carry all the time because you just never know. Crap happens. I've never used a gun in self-defense. Someone already mentioned where I live, so that may answer the questions as to why I was shot. No one was charged with either incident. Both individuals were stupid, reckless, and irresponsible people. What is a level 10 pain for me? For me that would be either a migraine or a kidney stone. Migraines can be incredibly painful and debilitating. It's the pain, loss of vision, stomach, and even coming off of one. Lucky I don't get them very often. I gave birth to a kidney stone the size of a large grain of salt. From the pain I was expecting something more the size of a grapefruit. Both definitely 10s. Others who answered the question were in far worse shape than I was. Others less than me. It was painful for everyone, but I don't think it's what most people expect due to Hollywood portrayals. I'd recommend avoiding getting shot at all costs. I was randomly shot while walking down the street with my girlfriend in 2013. I didn't fall to the ground or anything like that. Walked into a store and told them to call the cops. It didn't hurt too bad at first. A slight pinch. The heat builds up and the pain comes in. Some throbbing as the blood pumps out. I was extremely lucky as the bullet lodged between my lower right ribs in the back just above my kidney. The aftermath was a really achy back. What I remember most was how everyone around me except for my girlfriend just walked around us like nothing happened. I was suffering and potentially dying and everyone just ignored it. Not my problem, I suppose. I lost a lot of faith in people that day. A good friend of mine got hit with a ricochet from a 9mm that hit his calf. There was drive-by about a block down. He was outside of the bar smoking a cig when it happened, ran inside and felt his leg burning but decided to keep drinking. He had about 3 more drinks before someone mentioned he was bleeding. Went to the ER absolutely hammered and was fine after surgery. Thanks for watching. Like, subscribe and share your thoughts in the comments.